You're listening to Gameday Tarps podcast, coast to coast, with your hosts, Riley, Dakota, Dallas, Dayton, and Wilbs.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gameday Tarps, episode 32. On today's show, we got a whole wrap of championship season going on. We have the CHL Memorial Cup all finished up, with the Saginaw Spirit closing it out against the London Knights. We have the PWHL, Minnesota, winning. And then we also have this weekend coming up, June 8th, Stanley Cup Finals, with Edmonton versus Florida. Gentlemen, let's get in it. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good, man.
Pretty good.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you're not already subscribed, please tap that notification bar to keep up to date with Gameday Tarps. And let's get into this, boys.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's throw it all the way back a couple weeks ago now to the Men's World Cup. So basically in Czechia, in Prague, the Men's World Cup went absolutely crazy. They were breaking attendance records for this tournament. The Czech people were going absolutely nuts for it. So the Men's World broke the all-time attendance record for that tournament with 741,690 people. So 11,589 per game is what the record they broke.
Dude, it's literally a trend. Like, what's not to love about winning at home, right? You get the home crowd fired up. Like, people are going to turn out, and I think it was pretty special for Czechia. So
exactly, and to have them win was incredible. But to get there, we have quite a few big storylines. Like, let's talk about the Canada loss to Switzerland. Canada going undefeated and then playing Switzerland and losing in a shootout. I hate a shootout in a semifinal. I think it's so Bush League. I think it's an absolute joke. The IIHF continues to do this. And also, Canada, horrible decision-making. 3 of their 5 shooters were defensemen.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible showing.
What were they thinking? That's on the coach. Like, let's just look. I am in no way a big John Tavares believer, like, you know, he's best in the world or whatever, like some people are. But John Tavares did not take a shot in the semifinal shootout. The captain of the team didn't take a shot. You know who scored? Connor Bedard. After all those minutes, like, Connor Bedard wasn't playing and whatever. Is he injured? Is he not? Was he scratched? Right? Or not scratched, but was he put on the bench? We don't know. Like, now all of a sudden we're finding out, like, here he comes, shootout, first guy to take the shot, he scores. No one else on Canada scored the whole rest of the way.
Just really a big surprise that Connor Bedard was limited minutes. Like, he was one of the guys that had an absolute incredible showing, and it showed when he played minutes. But then when he didn't play minutes, Canada had a little bit of a downfall. So it's just like, what even happened between the coach and Bedard? That's between them two. But like I said, it seems like poor coaching decisions by the Canada coach, because who knows what would have happened if Bedard had crucial minutes and crucial time.
Yeah, and I mean, Switzerland played extremely well. Like, they made it to the final. They did earn it, but the shootout is a crap way to do it. But, you know, they had some of the best players in the tournament for sure.
I think it was an amazing gesture for that Nico Hischier giving the captaincy to Roman Josi once he arrived for Team Switzerland, getting eliminated by the Vancouver Canucks when he was still with Nashville in round 1. So I was going to say hats off to, you know, Nico Hischier for that gesture.
Yeah. That's just who Hischier is. Like, that's a true leader. Like, you know, his first time captaining a men's Swiss team, and he gives it off to the guy who honestly deserves it more, but
an idol to him, really.
Yeah, exactly. To me, the bigger score, though, Canada losing the shootout is what it is, but Czechia beat the U.S. 1-0 after Johnny Gaudreau set the all-time American points record, after Brock Nelson set the all-time American goal record. All these things that the Americans were doing, undefeated, absolutely, scoring 6-7 goals a game, whatever they were doing. 1-0 loss.
You want to talk about a piss poor showing? The USA didn't have quite that great of a tournament as well, so.
Exactly. I felt like they just came out flat, really. Like, to lose 1-0 with that talented of a roster, you're not there
Exactly.
in the moment.
Big dogs did not show up.
Nope. Canada, I want to go back to Canada because they also blew their chance too, because they took a penalty, a double minor in overtime, and that really disturbed the whole flow of the overtime period. So I just think that they really dropped the ball on that one. And then we get to the bronze medal game. And so we had 3 undefeated teams going into the medal rounds. We had Sweden, Canada, and USA. And all of them ended up losing to not be in the final. And Sweden beat Canada for bronze. And yeah, I don't even know what this one, like, Canada they didn't deserve it, that's for sure, in this game. Like, it just was what it was, really.
I think it's also good for fresh perspective. Like, you get new teams in the finals, teams that don't really win very often. Like, I think it's just good for the culture of hockey, having, the underdogs win a few games here and there, even a few medals, right? So I think I'm all for it, right? Swiss, Czechia, like, congratulations. They guys obviously earned their spot to medal, so
yeah,
there's
the Swiss
no
have
denying
never
that.
won. They've never won, so that was unfortunate. But, I mean, for Canada, you look at it one way, Canada was the youngest roster in the tournament. So you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, right? And then, yes, as we did say, Czechia wins gold over Switzerland on home ice. One of the only tournament hosts to win it in recent memory, so good for them. Let's go through the awards. So best goaltender went to Lukas Dostal of the Anaheim Ducks for Czechia. Best defender went to Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators for Switzerland. Best forward went to Kevin Fiala of the LA Kings for Switzerland, and the MVP of the tournament was Kevin Fiala as well. So Switzerland took home all the awards. They just didn't win the main trophy. All right, let's jump to the Memorial Cup. If you haven't already, everyone watching, we just did a Memorial Cup special. Go watch that, watch our breakdown, and then you can go watch our last episode as well, and you can see us discuss the actual final and breaking down the Western Conference final in the NHL and the Eastern Conference final in the NHL. So that's our finals weekend special. So Memorial Cup special, finals weekend special. Go watch those two. And we get all caught up on where we are today, which is, like Daoust said in the intro, Saginaw winning over the London Knights. What are your guys' thoughts? We recapped a little bit. Let's just do a short one. Owen Beck won the MVP of the tournament. Did you guys agree with that? What are your thoughts here?
I mean, there's so many players that could have won. There's a lot of good players on both teams, Saginaw and London, but you don't expect a team from the losing side to win the MVP. It has happened before, but like I said, I think it's really well deserved. If we're talking about the whole game perspective, I think honestly Owen Beck deserves it. He had 2 goals in the game, and they're very crucial in moments like these. And it's really hard to do these crucial moments. So to have it go to Owen Beck, someone who's had the experience before last year, and he scored some pretty good goals in the Memorial Cup last year too. So he knows where he was going with it. So I honestly think it's well deserved. Obviously, you could have gave it to Michael Simpson because he was absolutely phenomenal all tournament long. You could have gave it to Cowan, who also had a spectacular tournament. He did not have a great game in the finals, but he did score when it mattered and made some plays happen still, even with the rough stuff that was going on. Owen Beck laid him the fuck out. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, Owen Beck is definitely a true deserving winner of that, especially how he played in the finals.
Yeah, I ditto that, Wilbs. I mean, last year they got a taste of it with Peterborough. I'm just going to start off with your comment too. I think Owen Beck deserves the MVP 100%. He came up clutch this Memorial Cup for Saginaw with his new club, getting traded from Peterborough. And going back to Peterborough, he was pretty clutch for them too, and they knew what he was getting into when he was traded from Mississauga. But as you alluded to, it usually doesn't go to a losing side for an MVP award, but if I were to be given it out, I personally would have given it to Michael Simpson because his old teammate, man, was he rock solid for Peterborough last season, and London knew what they were getting into this season, trading for him. So he was lights out all playoffs long. He was very solid in the Memorial Cup too. Obviously, he came up a bit short with his team, but hats off to him, man. Amazing goaltender. And you know what? Like, scouts are going to be all over this guy. All over him. He is going to find an NHL job soon.
Yeah, I'm looking to see the news when he signs with someone because he really does deserve a contract. Like, he was nuts. Like, key reason why London lost the finals last year was because of Michael Simpson. London Ice just could not find a way. They were producing. They were getting more shots on goal. They just couldn't figure out Michael Simpson, and that was the key factor in that pizza series last year. So, and then Simpson does it again in the OHL playoffs and the Memorial Cup. So I would be shocked to not see his name signed by an AHL or NHL club or a pro club. I would be very surprised.
Yeah, he's a great goaltender. And boys, we saw this last year. Same situation with Thomas Milic of the Seattle Thunderbirds. Remember, like, he was not really looked out upon until the Memorial Cup, right? They went on that run in the Western Hockey League Finals, won it all, went to the Memorial Cup here in Kamloops, and then, there was a bunch of scouts. I mean, we've all seen them in the crowd. Remember when we were going to the games, boys? Like, they were all around, and obviously, the Manitoba Moose, they picked them up. Right, they signed him to an AHL deal, so hats off to him as well. Another great goaltender, but these guys they'll find jobs in clutch moments.
Dally, I'm pretty sure Milic was drafted by Winnipeg.
He was undrafted.
No, he got drafted.
He was drafted. Yeah,
he was
an overager.
He went after Scott's Ratzlaff, which was kind of goofy, but his backup goaltender got drafted before him. But yeah, I'll look it up if it lets me. He was.
I'm almost certain Milic was drafted.
He was.
I mean,
I thought he was.
The only reason, yeah, and I mean he had a really good showing for the World Juniors though, which is why I think his stock got hyped up.
Yeah,
especially after that tournament. So he was in his last year.
Yeah, he was just an overaged goalie. He just, but he was drafted.
Yeah.
So he missed. So he was
51.
Draft year +1 or 2 was he then?
+1 only. He was 19, I think. I don't think he was.
Oh, not bad then. All right, yeah.
How old is he now? He's 21, so he was 20 last year.
So originally undrafted then, but then after the Memorial Cup, he got picked up upon. They started watching his talents. Yes.
It was his final year of draft eligibility. Yeah. I know we got some CHL trades to talk about here, boys. So why don't we break some of those down as well?
So we're going to. So let's start off with the Ontario Hockey League. There has been 3 trades so far. So Flint Firebirds trade with the Sudbury Wolves. So 4 players come over to Flint: Evan Conyon, Matthew Mania, Commissional. I don't even know how to say it. And who else was it? I'm trying to remember what his name was. Oh fuck, I can't remember. But
for Flint, I'll look it up. You keep going.
Because I know it was Conyon, I know it was Mania, and then they traded Eels. They traded Eels and Klinkhammer and 9 draft picks.
It was Honia, Mania, Collins, and Colissimo.
Yeah, that was it. Collins. Yeah.
As well as they traded Christopher Thibault and a 4th to the Frontenacs. After that,
yeah, Chris Thibodeau for 7-round draft picks. So 16 draft picks gone for 5 players.
Yeah,
like isn't that crazy a little bit?
Yeah, that's.
I wouldn't say that's crazy for OHL. OHL, you see that all the time. It's like WHL, you won't see that many picks go over to another team,
Unless it's Owen Zellweger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, I don't even think the picks were, like that many.
Nothing
picks,
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The more.
But the thing is like you have so many draft picks, and you could trade it for a bigger and better player. Like Owen Beck, it was understandable, and same with Donovan because he had the Memorial Cup experience. Flint's trying to make a run for it. But if you're trying to make a run for it, try to go for players that have good experience. Like, you're not getting, I don't think they're getting the guys that they need. Like, as much as, some of them are good players like Kanye, and I've noticed his game a little bit, but he's more into that def role. Mania is going to be that big guy to look out for. Same with Collins, both on the back end. So that really helps them. I think the back end will help. But it's just like, you got to be smart with your picks. Otherwise, then your future is going to be downhill for a long fucking time. You got to be smart to pick that back up. But you don't want to overpay the team. And it just seems like, they're throwing picks away for what? That's just my thoughts on what Flint's doing. Like, they're throwing picks away for what?
Well, Flint got those picks. Those picks came to Flint, didn't they? Oh, no, sorry, I was reading that.
They traded them.
You're right. That's right. In the infographic, it's kind of confusing, but I see.
Yeah, it was very confusing. Yeah. I was like, what's going on?
Never mind. Yeah, so they gave up 2 players and 9 draft picks, and then a 7th. But they got a 4th round back with Thibodeau, so that helps, I guess.
Yeah, that does help a little bit, but like the fact that you trade 16 picks for, like, I can't even name one of the players that will be a star on this team. Like, as much as they're good players, don't get me wrong, but for trading that many picks, you got to expect a star player back. Like, for example, Owen Beck and Jordan Donovan. Those made sense. Those were trades that made sense with Saginaw. But when you're trading these like picks away for players that aren't even like big stars, it's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, if you're
getting swinging and missing.
Yeah, like if you get Anthony Ormani or David Goyette or Quentin Musty, one of those big names, because you guys probably know how big those names are, then it's probably worth it. But these are not big names that you're going to want to trade that many picks away for. We'll see what Flint does. We'll see what happens between Flint. But at the end of the day, I had a gut feeling that Flint was going to try and make a run for it because they cut it close with London in the first round. Sure, they got swept, but every game was close. It was close battles. So I knew Flint, for some reason, was going to make a run for it. That's what they're trying to do. We'll see what happens, but I think it's just a waste.
Yeah. Anyone else? What other big trades?
And then the final trade in the O is Brendan Sirizotti gets traded to Niagara Ice Dogs, and the Sioux Greyhounds get back 4 draft round picks.
Perfect.
I honestly wish Dayton was here right now, boys, because boy, his team was blowing up today ahead of the draft.
Rebuild.
I really, I really wish he was here to break him down. Maybe you can just save it for him or not. But in a little summarized, short story that they are selling house. Matthew Cataford are going to the 25 Memorial Cup hosts. They are obviously loading up for next year to be a competitive host. And then Moncton was a surprise. The host city for this year's draft. The LHGMQ, like, holy boys, they're adding most of the Halifax Mooseheads roster there for a good chunk. And Mathis Rousseau almost got traded to them, but that got kiboshed quick. Apparently the source kind of just fluttered out, and it wasn't as reputable as some thought. So, and then Cape Breton, I think, almost stole the show today. They, traded the first overall pick of this year's LHGMQ draft to the Quebec Rempart, and then they got the 4th overall pick. They got a young goaltender, and they got 2 other picks, one being a first and the other a second future. So that should be interesting. Some people did think that Ethan Gauthier of Drummondville, the Q representative at this year's past Memorial Cup, would have been on the move. That remains to be seen yet. It might come to fruition, who knows, but some speculated that the Cape Breton Eagles were one of those teams willing to move their first overall pick to the Drummondville Voltigeurs.
Makes you wonder with Halifax. I'm literally just reading this 2 days ago, so one day before the draft. Simon Sports acquires 100% of Halifax Moosehead shares. So the team was just bought one day before the draft, and now all of a sudden, sale immediately.
And they're looking for a new head coach, too.
Total different directions. So, who knows on that one?
I think Well, with Wilbs going over the OHL trades, and I kind of just broke down a little bit of what was going on in the queue. Like, it's actually been kind of quiet over here, boys, in the dub. Like, I haven't really seen anything on my news feed about anything, going on. No rumblings, no trade rumors, no nothing. But I feel like it's going to come down again next year as the queue are going to be loading up fast. They're going to be loading up early, as well as the OHL, and they will be the most competitive. Like, who are we going to have in the West? Like, honestly, like Moose Jaw, Moose Jaw and Saskatoon, they're definitely going to be, out of the bubble because they're going to be losing some key pieces to overage, and also probably just going to be sellers trying to recoup lost future draft stock. So, yeah, who's to say if Portland could be in the running again? Maybe Prince George keeping a lot of their key pieces, but I think it's going to be a weaker
Medicine Hat, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I love that topic right there of Medicine Hat. I know we bring it up a few times, but boy, they got a good core of guys on that team. Like, yeah, they're going to be the new beasts of the Eastern Conference because they're not going to have to compete with guys like Moose Jaw and Saskatoon anymore. So it'll be good. Also, quick fact, boys, I did not mention this to you at work, but actually I think I told Dakota, but quickly here that mid-June, 4 cities have to appeal for their intent to bid on the 26th Memorial Cup host in the dub. So by November, we will find out who is going to be revealed to be the host, but I kind of want to quickly go over all your boys' thoughts of like who most likely out of those 4 cities, if you can name the most likely to be the host.
Do you know who they are? Who are they?
No, we're going to find out mid-June.
So based on teams that are on the rise,
and it's for 26, right?
Yeah.
I see. I'm gonna 100% say Medicine Hat's gonna try to get in it.
I've been hearing rumors on that team going for it, so I'm assuming that they're going to be in the running.
I would say the Oil Kings with Joe Aginla, the
True.
Rockets with Tej Aginla, the Mad Hat Tigers with Gavin McKenna and Caden Lindstrom.
Tej will be iffy.
Basha, Mercek, they got a lot of boys on that team, yeah.
And Everett just getting the exceptional status defenseman first overall. I could see those aren't going to be the 4 teams. I'm sure there's maybe like a PG or something in there for some reason, riding off how good they were this year, and then kind of mistakenly going for it 2 years from now. But I think those could be the 4. Like, who else really looks ready? I mean, it's got to be Medicine Hat because
there's no. I don't see it being any other way. I mean, they're gonna want to showcase McKenna. Like, they're definitely gonna want to. Like, they did Misa, so why aren't they going to McKenna? Like, they already did Misa once.
I definitely love that comment, Wilbs, because that's what it should be all about. Like, teams should put in all their chips on the table for their star players to showcase at the Memorial Cup as a host, right? Like, we've seen uncompetitive hosts in, like, 2012, Shawinigan. Next year, like, is Rimouski going to live up to be a competitive host? Like, there's not really anyone there to showcase, but, the Co-op Center in Medicine Hat, I really like their odds. They have a beautiful venue. They got great talent and their core forward group and all the way around. The only thing I can see, though, is, like, Kelowna, 2020, COVID, shut down. 2023, intent to bid, got outbid by Kamloops, right? And they were told by the Canadian Hockey League to upgrade your arena, and we will allow you to host. They did not do that yet. So Prospera Place has yet to see a Memorial Cup host again since last time in the early 2000s. So I think Portland, right? It's been since 1983 since they hosted. Last American host city to win, actually, right? But I don't know. I can see Portland. They're still a strong team in the Western Conference. And CN Center in Prince George, they got still a young core there, and they're exciting to watch, in a BC weak division. So, I mean, they're still the top dogs there. Those are my 4 cities I think are most likely to host.
I loved what you said there, Dallas, about how, like, that's what it should be about. Teams with, like, these stars should do it. Really build their team and go for it. And then there's the Regina Pass, just like,
in 2018?
We were supposed to give Bedard help? Oh, no, it's fine. Oh, wait, we're supposed to trade him to get assets? No, we're just going to hang on to him. And we're not going to be a good team, and we're not
Jersey
getting
sales.
for them. Like,
and that whole trade got vetoed to Kamloops too. I can't get over that.
Yep.
Still, it got vetoed.
I know.
Like, buddy, I could have had a Bedard Kamloops commemorative Memorial Cup jersey right now.
That would have been nice.
Buddy, how
Right?
much money do you think that would have cost?
Dallas out here.
Well, Wilbs, did you see that? How much
Sleeping in the
all
back
of
of
Saginaw's went for, man? Like, they were all over $2,000. Every single player, top to bottom.
That's
Every one of
insane.
Saginaw's. Over
That's
$2,000,
insane.
yep.
That is insane.
Dude, I kid you
Just
not,
like their
man.
fucking tickets. Just like their fucking tickets for the final. Like, dude, this is not fucking NHL. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I don't know. Like, what do you honestly think the cost of a signed Bedard, let's just say Memorial Cup champion jersey? Because with Bedard, Kamloops would have been that much more of a different team. So let's just say a signed
Not
Memorial
fourth in the
Cup
tournament?
champion Bedard jersey.
No, Riley, can you imagine this, though? Could you imagine buying a Bedard jersey, selling it to a Kamloops Blazer cameraman, and he gets it signed by the man
Yes,
himself?
it's fine.
Could you imagine
Who
that?
does
That
that?
couldn't be me. That
Who
couldn't
does
be
that?
me.
Who does that?
Yeah, I'm that dumbass, boys. That was so bad. I went to that game that night too, right? I mean, it was a good game. We thrashed them 10-2, but you know, still highlight of the night was that guy getting it signed by Bedard. So I'm pissed. I'm very pissed still to this
There
day.
we are again about the Regina Pats having Bedard on their team, and they're just like, what? Oh, no, we're not going to do anything. Losing 10-2 with Bedard on your team, and he probably got points on both goals.
Well, they also got smoked in round one, you know, by the Saskatoon Blades that year. But you know, just Bedard for 7 games, boys. That's all they needed, right? That's all you wanted.
Because on last year's team, name one player other than Bedard on the Regina Pats.
Tanner Howe.
Tanner Howe,
One.
Zach Stringer.
Wow.
Jackson Vaughn, Luke Bateman,
Okay, we get it. There's
Matthew. Boy, no, what?
They had people. It's fine. They just weren't good.
Zach Stringer.
Yeah, I already
I can
said that.
keep
man.
naming them, boys. Oh,
He's already said that.
He's also in the Penticton Beast.
He's a super fan
Wow.
now. He's a Regina Pats super fan.
Well, let's move on from the CHL here now. PWHL, the Walter Cup, first inaugural season in history. The winner becomes the Minnesota team. They don't have a name yet. Minnesota team. Taylor Heise won the Alana Kloss Playoff MVP award. Now let's just talk about Minnesota here for a minute, because this is what actually is entertaining about the PWHL. We have to remember all the way back to when they announced their playoff rules that first overall got to pick if they wanted to play third overall or fourth overall. First overall was Toronto. Now, I think out of respect, Toronto just kept it normal, but Toronto picked Minnesota. So Minnesota not only beat the first overall team, and then I believe it was Boston beat Montreal. Is that who Boston beat? I think they beat Montreal. And then, so it ended up being Boston versus Minnesota in the final. And Minnesota went down 2-0, and they came back. And they also, they reverse sweep Toronto. It was only a 5-game series. They were down 2-0 in that, and they won 3 straight to knock Toronto out. So this team basically beat all the odds, came back, first champions ever in PWHL history. So congrats to them. And man, this league was fun this year. I'm happy to see it come back next year. And the Stars, they're talking about lots more European women are coming over. Now you're getting people like Amanda Kessel joining. You're getting, what's that Canadian girl? Fillier?
Yeah,
who she is?
yeah.
Fillier? Sarah Fillier. She's coming in. It was sad to see Melodie Daoust retire. That was unfortunate. She retired from all hockey, period. So that sucked because she's such a great player. So she played 1 year and then did retire. But other than that, I mean, this league has been fantastic. I think that's kind of a flex, though, like to be the first player ever retired in the PWHL, like straight to the Hall of Fame. Just play 1 year, straight to the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think it's got to be cool to be Taylor Heise, too. You're the first ever female drafted, and then your team wins it, and you're the MVP. Like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool story. So
True.
Literally the best PWHL player of all time right now.
She's pretty nasty. She's pretty nasty at puck.
I saw something like her last 14 months, she like led the nation in scoring, won a national championship, drafted first overall in the PWHL, led the PWHL in scoring, joins the playoffs, leads the playoffs in scoring, and wins MVP and wins the cup. Like in just over a year, she did all that.
So much hardware.
Crazy year.
So much hardware.
Right.
So
and I know, boys,
to
like
these women.
we talked about this months and months ago, but like now I think it's legitimately a staple comment now that the PWHL could start to look to expand, because now you're starting to look at interest from overseas, right? The European women, you know, like I think they're in a good spot to start thinking in the next year or two to start adding some more teams, because now you're going to get even more exciting playoff action, more teams, and you can go to a 7-game series, and I think it's just all the right things are going right for them.
Didn't they?
Everything's pointing in the right direction for the PWHL, and it's great to see.
Okay, no immediate expansion. I saw that the WNBA gave Toronto a team, though. That was cool.
Yeah, they're already starting to look for some logos and names now for it. The Toronto 6, I think, looks sick. I think they should go with that name and logo. I think it looks awesome, boys.
Did you guys see the newest team that was released before they announced that? The Golden State Valkyries, based out of Golden State Warriors. Owned by this is the first WNBA team owned by an NBA team, so the Warriors own this team. Oh, dude, sick. So sick. I'll put a picture up of that because I love their logo and everything. It's such a cool idea. So
that's pretty dope.
Yeah. They had a huge party. I didn't even know this was happening. It showed up on my Twitter feed and I stumbled upon it and I was like, oh, this is so cool. That Golden State is getting more teams to add to their championships. Hopefully. All right. One big signing, obviously lots of young guys have been signing, but one big signing is that Will Smith did decide to sign with the San Jose Sharks. 3 years, $950,000 cap hit, but it will be a $4.15 million contract per year for him. He's going to make base $855K. He's going to get $95,000 signing bonuses. He has a performance bonus A, which is $1 million, and a performance bonus B, which is $2.2 million. If he plays in the minors, he will make $82.5 thousand. So congrats to him for getting his big ticket with the Sharks.
He ain't gonna be liking that California state tax, though.
Nope.
I do want to jump onto this, though, Riley, if you don't mind, that I did see today that, speaking of California teams, it's not going to be San Jose, but Anaheim and LA are going to be getting new primary logos, which I think is going to be sick. I wonder if they're going to do Mighty Ducks again, or if it's just going to be something totally original.
Nope. No, it's Mighty.
They were due. Both of those teams were due.
That's overdue, yeah. Especially LA, I think they could go back.
Well, I think LA is going back to the Gretzky era of LA.
I feel it.
That'd be sick.
So it's going to be...
I wish they brought back purple and yellow, to be honest.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, with the crown.
So they're going to bring back the LA Kings one that's kind of like the Chevy logo. You know, it's like a big plus. But they're doing a different crown. It's probably going to be their more modern crown that's going to be added in there. But so here's the thing. I don't think that the Ducks is going to be the Mighty Ducks. It says it's a Mighty Ducks inspired, because we have to remember that Disney still owns the rights to the Mighty Ducks. So when they make a third jersey, Disney has to sign off on it. So to me, it's going to be a Mighty Ducks inspired, but I don't think it's going to be the same logo. I think it's going to be something different with maybe some kind of a duck mask. I don't know how close they can get it.
Or just literally a duck.
Or they got approval from Disney, but we all know that Disney doesn't give up their rights to anything very easily. So
yeah, man. The NHL is so, hard on for, getting animals with biting a stick in half, So why don't they just have the duck with a stick in its mouth, I don't know, biting down on it? Like the Sharks.
Bite anything in half?
And the Florida Panthers. I don't know, it's stupid, but, but don't put it past them.
I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. But these are also, I don't know, like for people that watch, these are not third jerseys. These are new redesigned homes and aways. These are permanent jerseys of these teams you're going to be wearing. They are changing and rebranding completely. So that'll be
So the color scheme too, hey?
No, colors are the same. Colors are the same.
I still say Anaheim should go back to their 14 Stadium Series jerseys, man. That highlighter orange looked too clean with that glossy Anaheim Ducks logo.
I'm not a fan of that jersey. I like highlighter orange, but I feel like that was a lot of highlighter orange. With the shiny D crest.
Yeah. I want to bring this up though because I wasn't sure if we are going to talk about it on this pod, but let's do it since we're talking so much about the Ducks. There's been rankings that have come out, and it is the bottom 8 and the top 8 NHL logos that have been released. And personally, I think this list is just crap all the way around. So let's talk. What do you guys want to start with, worst or best?
I'm going to go with worst because I've seen Tampa Bay was like bottom of the list in the worst category, and I want to just grind your gears right now. So are you satisfied with that?
So first overall, so 32nd overall, I guess, the worst logo in the league was voted as the Anaheim Ducks logo.
True.
I think that is ridiculous. Dude, the duck foot as a D, I thought that was so creative when they came out with this. I have never disliked the Anaheim Ducks rebrand. I thought it was awesome. I like it. I am one of the few people who like this way more than the Mighty Ducks brand. Like, way more than the Mighty Ducks brand. I love the Mighty Ducks colors, but the branding of this current Ducks team, I love everything that they did with it. Now it's obviously gone. They've killed the duck foot. But
somebody please feel free to jump in when I say this, that you're not exactly wrong, Riley. Like, I totally agree with you, but their jersey itself complementing that logo is just completely dookie. You know, with all the different 3 or 4 colors going right down the crest of the jersey. Like, it just does not complement it at all. So give it that ranking, I think. They got a redesign. Complete overhaul, and I'm glad they're finally doing it.
We're talking worst in the NHL, though.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
We're literally talking... Okay, so second overall is the Panthers' new logo. I don't agree with this either. I don't like the Panthers crest. I think it's sick. It says Florida, has their panther. I like this panther way more than I like their jumping panther. I hate that logo. Again, if you watched our last episode, you'll see me just bashing it in our Battle of the Tarps at the end because I just was like, this stupid logo. But their new one, I quite like that logo. But third, what I'm saying for the Ducks, why are the Ducks so bad? Third is literally the LA Kings. It is LA, a crest, and then just a crown. Like, of all these ones on this list, that sucks.
Too plain Jane?
Yeah, like, there's no creativity to it at all. Yeah, I'm sending these in the Discord to you guys so you can see them too. But I don't know. It's just like no one has ever said anything really good or really bad about LA's logo because it's so unrememberable. Like, it just doesn't matter. You don't think about the LA Kings logo at all. To me, it's just not it's ever on your mind.
Sorry, I know we talked about the CHL beginning of the episode, but quick point here, boys. They need to take notes, NHL teams, from CHL teams in logo design, because CHL teams put a lot of creativity in their designs. You know, like the Wings of Seattle are hockey sticks. The Erie Otters bucket is literally in the shape of Erie, the name of Erie, in the shape of a helmet. So, like, just little creativity of, like, you know, designing your logos and just making it pop. And, like, putting subtle hints in there of, like, you know, what your team's all about or what your city. Pittsburgh. Let me talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins for a second here. Like, I'm sure we're going to get to them in the best and worst, but the triangle, there's a meaning of that yellow triangle, and that is the business district at the point where the 3 rivers meet in Pittsburgh, right? And they play the Pittsburgh Penguins at PPG Paints Arena in that business district. That's literally the triangle of where the point meets. So I think that's a cool hint of, like, how certain teams just put, you know, subliminal messages of where their team plays. So, that's the end of my rant.
Okay, well, even next, 4th overall. The Dallas Stars logo is the 4th worst in the league. Like, no way the Dallas Stars logo is that bad. I think this is way better than any logo they've ever had as the Stars. I've never liked really any of their logos until this one. Personally. Washington Capitals. Or if you have something to say on Dallas, Stack, go for it. Throw it in.
No, I don't know. I was just trying to think. I mean, you're kind of cursed with the name, right? Like, what can you really do with Stars?
Yeah.
And Capitals, for that matter. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think the Capitals logo is... What makes me so mad about it is the fact that their name is the Washington Capitals, and they put all their lettering in their logo with lowercase. None of their letters are capital letters. Everything is lowercase, which I just think is ironic and funny. But, like, there's nothing to the... Like, Washington and LA are easily in the top 3 worst for me.
Yeah, I agree.
No doubt.
Too
No
plain.
doubt about it.
Too plain. If they had, like, let's say LA still had their old logo and the Capitals their old logo when Ovechkin first came in with the black jerseys, like, that logo was fucking sick. Same with that eagle too. Like, that had some meaning into it. So that's why I love that logo. But now both of their logos are just plain. I don't really like it. The Capitals jersey isn't too bad, but we're talking about the logo here. But the logo just seems plain and bland, and that's what you don't want to see. So it makes sense why they're on the worst list.
Yeah, those vintage black Washington jerseys were just prime. Like, he actually had the Capitol building in the logo with Washington Capitals. Like, that is good design right there.
I mean, I like
that has meaning.
I like the one jersey they brought out where they had the eagle, but it was in the shape of a W. Like, the wings were the W. That was a nice logo.
The next team here, I don't understand this one, because if you look at all these teams, most of them came in the league around the same time. Panthers, Ducks, Stars, Capitals,
90s.
Blue Jackets, Hurricanes, Lightning. But the Hurricanes are the only team on this list that has never changed their logo. They have always been the Hurricane. I don't mind it at all. I think it gets the point across very clear. It has their color scheme in it. I don't mind the Hurricanes logo one bit, but I don't know why they have it so low on this list.
But don't they use different logos for their jerseys now? Like, they got the Hurricane warning flag as their black home, and then the whites just says Canes with, like, little Hurricane flag in the sea. But I've never hated that logo, man. The Hurricanes are one of the most beautiful jerseys in the league, I think. The logo's sick,
Yeah, so for this year, you're right. They technically changed their logo, but, like, with the NHL, they did not change their logo. So they just put it on their jerseys. But for their branding, they're still the Carolina Hurricanes with that logo. And anywhere you look on NHL.com, NHL app, it's all with that logo. Whereas, like, all these other teams' logos have physically changed over time. Carolina's still just said, hey, we're just going to do this fun branding campaign this year, but we're still going to keep our main logo.
Who made this list? I'd like to know.
This is by MBON Hockey on X. Number 7 is the Blue Jackets. And you know what? I used to hate this logo until I did learn that is a C around the star. And then with the Star Spangled Banner stuff, and with Columbus being, like, one of the first cities really in America, I did kind of understand it, like the historical red, white, and blue fact of it. Like, now I don't mind it. When I was a kid and I knew nothing about America, I was like, screw the Americans, I hate this logo, right? But now that I know a little bit more, I'm like, this is a creative logo. This is one of the more creative logos in the NHL when you actually break it down.
We got to make our own list one of these days, boys. Just take a vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
next episode. We'll do some voting off screen, and then we'll bring it out next episode for sure.
Swag.
But we'll go to the last one, which is the Lightning. I get why people would not like it because it's kind of plain, for sure. But if you compare it to their other logo, that was so clunky with Tampa Bay Lightning with the bolt on it, like that was such a clunky logo. I hated their old logo. So I loved it when they rebranded to this because it is simple and it gets the point across. It's a lightning bolt. I don't know why the circle's there, but I've always liked it.
Yeah, but you know what's unique about Tampa Bay, though, and you should know this, though, Riley, is that they are one of 2 teams who actually changed the color of their logo for both their homes and whites. The Maple Leafs also do it. For their aways, it's a blue Maple Leaf. With their homes, it's a white Maple Leaf. And it's the same thing with Tampa.
Yeah.
You know, on the road, it's a blue Lightning, and at home, it's white Lightning. So it's kind of cool, though. So there's no
Where's
roast.
the style points?
It's simple. It's simple, and it's a cool, nod. So.
Yeah, I think Calgary does that too, don't they?
Hey?
So I think Calgary does that too, don't they? Red logo for the away, white logo for the home.
Yeah, I think they do that.
They do, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. With their new ones, yeah.
The retro one too.
All right, so that was their worst 8. Let's go to the best. And you know what I hate about the NHL when it comes to best logos? Everything is just about historic, right? Whatever logo is historic is what everyone wants to choose, which sucks for me. Like, the Detroit Red Wings are number 1 on this list. The best jersey in the National Hockey League are the Detroit Red Wings. I like the Detroit Red Wings. I think the wheel is awesome because it's Motor City, and then the Red Wing because that's the name of their team. I think it's a great concept and a great idea, and it's lasted forever in their history. But is it the best logo in the National Hockey League? I don't think so. What are your guys' thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised if all original 6 teams were up there in the top
Hawks are
10.
number 2.
They're historic.
Hawks are number 2. And that I don't agree with. I hate the Chicago Blackhawks logo just because it doesn't match really anything that they ever wear. The only time it matches is when they go like outdoor games and they put on brown pants and brown gloves. Then it at least kind of matches. But I get the history of it. I don't hate the fact that it's their logo, but in terms of like a sick NHL logo, like it's not up there for me. Dally, you'll be pumped about 3 though. Number 3 is the
3 and 4, buddy.
3 and 4, yeah, 3 and 4. 3 is the Colorado Avalanche, which honestly is one of the best logos in the league. You have it very simple. It's an A that is a mountain peak with the snow on top, and then the avalanche physically coming down in front of it, making the rest of the A. Like, simple, classy. The only thing I hate about it is the circle around the back. You know what I mean?
How it circles around the back?
Yeah, like, because the avalanche comes down the one side and then goes over, and then there's the peak, and then there's just a random circle.
But then you would miss the point of the A, though. That's what they're getting at, right? Like, the A is making the peak, but then if you had it in front, then it'd be kind of missing the whole point of blocking the A, right? So it's just...
Yeah.
You can't deny, man. It's one of the sickest logos. Even the jerseys, man. The burgundy and blue, the silver trim. Oh my god.
Fire.
I should know. I have like 9.
And then, like you alluded to, Dally, with Pittsburgh in their semblance, they're number 4, which is, yeah, you can't go wrong with the Pittsburgh Penguins logo, really.
And they've hardly changed their logo as well, right? The only thing they really changed was they went from like, they have a now gold triangle, but they also had like more of like a silverish chrome triangle from like, back in the day. From like, they stopped doing it in 2016. And they had that since the early 2000s. They had their Robo Penguin in the late 90s. Then they had their classic black and gold in the early 90s. But then they also had purple jerseys at one point in the 70s. And they had the baby blue with the Pittsburgh going down and white lettering. They've had some different jerseys over the years, but the logo's always been the nicest. I'll give them that.
Number 5. This one is completely just for history buff or history bump, whatever you want to call it. It's the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm sorry to Dayton. I hate this logo. If you don't know that their nickname is the Habs, like as a kid, I had no idea what the heck this logo was. I couldn't tell. I was like, I don't know, it must be something stupid in French. It's the stupidest looking C. The H in the middle throws it off when you don't know what it means. Like, I hate this logo. And I always have and I always will. Do not like the Montreal Canadiens logo.
Well, no, you know what's crazy is I didn't even know until 2011 that the Canucks logo with the orca, I didn't realize that was supposed to be a C. Actually, not that one, and the one with the hockey stick right down the middle. I didn't realize that was supposed to be in the shape of a C too.
The guy whose logo is literally a C can't tell when people's logos are a C.
Okay, well, Calgary's C is pretty obvious C.
Yeah, but I know. I can't say that I knew immediately growing up when I was like, oh, cool, Canucks logo, like the whale. I couldn't have told you that was C until a couple years, like, you know, probably around 2011, probably around the same time.
But again, like another original 6 team, right? Logo's very unchanged since the dawn of time when they were first established. So I mean, you just got to go for the historic aspect. Like it's just clean, simple, and they kept true to their originality, their origin.
We're stuck with it now, and that sucks because honestly, it's the worst. This might be my vote for the worst logo in the NHL. The Montreal Canadiens.
They still have pretty nice jerseys, though.
I'm not even going to agree. I'm not even going to agree with number 6. They shouldn't even be in the top 10.
Seattle Kraken?
Yeah. And if they're there, I think Vegas should be there. Vegas is way nicer than that.
Yeah, Vegas are not really good.
I'm just saying Kraken are in my top 10.
When you look at that S, does it look like a Kraken at first glance? No.
I see it.
No. No, you don't. You're lying.
It's like one of those old, remember in grade school when you do like those fancy S's in your notebook? That's what that reminds me of, really.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, you really got to look at it to look at that red dot and be like, okay, that's an I,
I'm just saying.
Ooh, sea monster. Like, yeah, I don't get that vibe at first glance either. Now you got me pumped to make this logo ranking because, boy, we have some different opinions, boys.
Seattle's in my top 3. I'm just saying that. They're in my top 3.
You're wild, dude.
That much. And my own team is not in the top 3. I'm just saying that. This next one, in my top 3. Minnesota Wild. The Badger, or Bear, whatever people choose, Badger or Bear. I think it's a Badger.
That's one of the best in the CHL, man.
Yeah, 100%.
They literally went with full originality.
It is nuts, too.
And a perfect color scheme. Perfect color scheme for it, too. Like...
Yeah. It's the best logo of the league. I'm calling
pretty wild, bro.
Number 1.
It's pretty wild.
I'm calling it number 1. Minnesota Wild, number 1. For me. Is it also the shape of their state? Is it also their state shape or no? Is it just a Badger? I don't think it's their state
shape. The Badger head.
Yeah.
Oh no, but they did do one though. I think it was like a Heritage Classic jersey. Their Minneapolis or St. Paul, whatever jersey it was.
Yeah, you're right.
That was a nice jersey.
Number 8, final one on the best NHL logo is the San Jose Sharks.
Their vintage logo was better.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either.
It's middle of the road. You know what? It might actually end up being a top 10 logo once we actually break down all the logos. Like, it could squeak into the top 10. But I just don't think... I don't know. It's meh. It's a shark biting a hockey stick in half. Like, it's creative just enough to be like, yeah, it's better than some. For me.
I mean, you can definitely tell what it is.
Yes, clearly. And there's relevance because they're in California on the coast, so that makes sense. So yes, everyone stay tuned. We are going to do, I don't know if it's going to be maybe short form, if we're going to do some kind of a fun short form jersey ranking, or if we're going to do it in the actual podcast, but we'll figure it out. The five of us will get together. We'll put a jersey ranking together one way or another.
Well, are we gonna do it mixed with like vintage logos mixed with current logos, or just strictly current logos?
Just current, just the ones the teams choose right now today. That includes Utah Hockey Club.
Whenever those get revealed.
Okay, so wait, we will do for the fairness of it, we will do 33 teams because we will also do the Arizona Coyotes Kachina dog as an honor of the Arizona Coyotes dying this year. We will
Final
throw
send
that
off.
in there.
Oh, that's a goated logo too.
It's a great logo. That's why. Like, how do you leave that off? How do you leave that off? Like, honestly, Utah is probably going to be last because we're like, that's not even a logo. So they'll be like voted 33rd. But like, Arizona's top 5, most likely.
Yeah.
Like,
the retro reverses are still one of the best to this day too.
mm-hmm.
Hands down.
All right, so yes, stay tuned, everyone. We're going to be doing a jersey ranking here very soon. All right, let's get into some signings. Let's bomb through these. Big surprise, honestly. Carolina Hurricanes general manager Don Waddell does not sign an extension to stay in Carolina on a team that could win the Stanley Cup. He chooses to go to the Columbus Blue Jackets for the same position. He was president of hockey operations and general manager in Carolina. Same position for him in Columbus. So, I mean, it's an exciting team to take on. And maybe, I don't know if that's maybe closer to home for him. I'm not sure where he's from. But to leave a team that is so close to getting to the Stanley Cup for a team that's not, at his age, like, he's not a young guy. He's, I don't know, to me, he's 65 to 75, somewhere in there. So this is a project team.
How long was he GM of Carolina for, though?
A long time.
Yeah, so he probably built that team from the ground up, right?
He drafted everyone that was there, including, I think, Jordan Staal. No, Pittsburgh drafted. No, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and he got traded from Pittsburgh to Carolina.
He drafted Eric Staal, sorry. I'm pretty sure. He's been there that long. I
mean, I don't necessarily hate the move. Clearly, it looks like the guy knows what he's doing, and Columbus is probably the perfect scenario to, figure things out. They got a great young team already. You hope that Gaudreau figures his footing out. Patrick Laine as well. Like, you have a good caliber team in Columbus. They're just not doing it.
Yep. Dally, you'll probably be pumped about this. Dan Bylsma hired as the coach of the Seattle Kraken. Ex-Penguins coach for a long time, getting his chance again. He's been coaching their minor team, the Coachella Valley Firebirds. I think it's Firebirds. Coachella Valley Phoenix. They are about to sweep in their conference finals to go to the finals again. And Hershey lost to avoid their sweep, but Hershey's going to be there. Like, Hershey's not going to win 3 more games against the Cleveland Monsters. So you're going to have Hershey and Coachella Valley again at the top of the podium this year in the AHL. Those two teams have been dominating the last 5 years. And Dan Bylsma is a big reason why Coachella Valley has, and he deserved the promotion to Seattle, I think.
Danny Bylsma was a great coach, and he was well respected and loved in the city of Pittsburgh. I mean, he was there for quite a while, unfortunately relieved of his duties for Mike Johnston there in the mid-2010s, and then he was also let go for then Mike Sullivan, who took them on back-to-back cup runs. But, yeah, Danny Bylsma, hats off to him. I'm glad he's got another coaching job in the league, so hopefully all goes well for him.
And really cool news that's coming out of it is that he told reporters that his current assistant in the AHL, Jessica Campbell, will be considered for a job on his coaching staff. So it could be the first full-time female assistant coach in the NHL. So we'll see what happens.
I think it's good to try something new. And I mean, Bylsma's been at this game before, and he's a Stanley Cup winning coach. So I think a good resume might help this new Seattle Kraken developed team. And Seattle has a bright future ahead of them. Like, these prospects that you're seeing that Seattle has now is just insane. Like, they have Shane Wright coming up. They have Carson Rakoff, Jagger Furkis, the Furkis Show. They have David Goyette, I believe. Like, they have all these big names. Like, they have a bright future ahead of them. So Seattle might be making a run in years to come. Like, we just don't know, but very bright future ahead for them.
They have, in my opinion, they have one of the best prospect pools in the NHL.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of sad news here. The oldest ice hockey arena left standing will now be closing down and demolished. Northeastern University has filed a proposal with the Boston Planning and Development to replace Matthews Arena. It's 124 years old. This arena hosted both the Bruins in the Bobby Orr era and everything, and the Boston Celtics in their originality. So this arena has been around for a long time in the Boston area. And it'll be replaced by a 290,000 square foot athletic facility. So, I mean, it eventually things have to come to an end, but it just sucks when something that's so historic has to.
When was it opened?
Oh, it's 124 years old, so 1900.
Holy.
It kind of feels like the Joe Louis Arena story, basically. Not like that was in Boston, but Joe Louis was also an all-time classic that got taken down. So kind of has that feeling to it, but sometimes those good times have to come to an end, as much as it pains other fans that, history, but sometimes they just have to come to an end.
Yeah, I remember when Windsor Arena was shut down. That was built in 1924, and then the WFCU was completed in 2008, and even that was one of the oldest barns around. So, yeah, it's sad to see these, classic arenas just, losing its life and just put away.
True.
Absolute classics.
All right, we have one award announced, and that I saw at least, and that was the Lady Byng. We all knew it was coming. Jacob Slavin winning the Lady Byng, so congrats to him. We all knew that was coming. I had to add this because I thought this was just hilarious. You've never really heard of stuff like this on the bench. So just as a reminder to Panthers players not to complain to the refs, photos, every game, they put the photo of the referees underneath the boards where their water bottles go, and written on all those photos all the way along the bench, they take the refs and they put multiple of them, is STFU. So shut the fuck up. To remind them to not yell at the refs. That is what their coaching staff does to make it so that they're not yelling at the refs. They have those photos there as a constant reminder. So I thought that was hilarious. Like, Paul Maurice just keeps getting funnier and funnier.
You gotta fucking love the dude, man. You gotta love him.
Windsor Spitfire, great right there, boys. I'm rooting for him.
All right. Let's jump to the NHL Stanley Cup Finals and the playoff statistics that we have today. So the playoff points leaders now are McDavid, then Draisaitl, Bouchard, and Nugent Hopkins. And there's a two-way tie with Trocheck and Tkachuk after that. So Trocheck obviously is done. Most assists in a regular season and a postseason. This list is crazy. It's Gretzky with 174 is the most, and then it's Gretzky has 9 straight records from 174 to 127 assists combined between the regular season and postseason. And Connor McDavid now has 126. So it notes here, if you pretend Gretzky doesn't exist, McDavid is number one, which just is showing how much of an incredible year he is having.
Do you boys feel that Edmonton's going to feel the heat? Feel all the pressure? Florida's been here before. They're used to it now. So literally Edmonton's coming in as the underdog. None of these guys have been in the Stanley Cup final other than Corey Perry. So, is it really going to get to them, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we talked about this last episode as well. The Panthers are almost playing the Lightning again. Skilled. The Lightning didn't put up much of a fight. The Panthers just shut them down and swallowed them whole. And I feel like they had a harder time playing Boston. They had a harder time playing New York. And I think that they're almost going back to an easier opponent for their game plan in the Edmonton Oilers. All it is just hit the crap out of everyone and then get a goal every now and then. Stay out of the penalty box. And that system literally works against the Oilers better than any other system. Don't take penalties. hit them so that they aren't making plays, take their ice away, and put in a garbage goal every now and then. Like, that is literally the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting series. But not only Corey Perry has that Stanley Cup final experience, Adam Henrique also has that experience coming back from when it was New Jersey versus the LA Kings, which was a while back in 2012. So that's going to be interesting to see him back in the finals. But I'm really hoping Edmonton wins. But considering Drake bet money on them, I mean, kind of not looking good now.
Corey Perry curse and the Drake curse, all in one, wrapped up on the Oilers.
That's a lot of pressure right there, boys.
I had to throw this in there because good flex for me. Everyone in the cap era with multiple 30-point postseasons, there's only two players:
Steven
David and Kucherov.
Cooch, oh jeez.
David and Cooch, that's it. Could be Draisaitl soon, I'm sure. But it goes on to say, are these the two best offensive weapons in hockey? I didn't want to flex that hard on you guys. So we'll just leave that out. McDavid, obviously, the first hit 30 playoff points, and it hasn't even reached the finals yet. I think when Kucherov reached the Stanley Cup, or when they won back-to-back cups, Kuch had like 33 and 32 points back-to-back years, and McDavid's already at 30. So he's probably going to pass Kucherov on those. And I mean, this disparity is kind of crazy too. Most points in the playoffs for these guys, like McDavid, 46 games played, or sorry, just since 2022, 46 games for McDavid, 84 points. That is unreal. Draisaitl right behind him at 78, Bouchard at 53, tied with Matthew Tkachuk. Like, these guys are just crazy climbing this list. Carter Verhaeghe, 46 points in 48 games since 2022. That is more than none other than Nathan McKinnon, who only has 45 points, but in only 38 games. So, just crazy statistics on these guys that are getting it. It's all Oilers. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Nuge, and Hyman are all in the top 10. That's 5 Oilers. So, they're just dominating. And then I this is another thing, just like our best logos and worst logos. Like, I always kind of hate this stat. Like, it is about history, but it's almost like you don't want to get rid of history, but it's also not really relevant. Like, the most Stanley Cup appearances in history, and it's like Montreal with 33. It's like, well, yeah, it was like 2 teams when they started. And then Detroit has 24, Toronto has 21, Bruins have 20, Blackhawks have 13, Rangers have 11. And then the Oilers have 8, tied with the Flyers, and the Penguins that have 6. It's crazy that the Penguins only have 6, to be honest. We talked about Perry a little bit last time in the last episode, but yes, he will be the first player to play with 5 different teams in a Stanley Cup final. All of them in his first year with the team, and he has played in 4 of the last 5 Stanley Cups in the 2020 decade with Montreal, Dallas, Toronto, and Edmonton. Or sorry, Tampa, not Toronto, and Edmonton. I just called my own team Toronto. That's bad. Cursed forever.
Yikes. Imagine calling Tampa Toronto.
Cursed forever now. They're never winning again. I threw this in there for the coaches. NHL regular season games coach, Paul Maurice, 1,848. Chris Knobloch, 69. Just one of the biggest, that might be the biggest disparity in games coached in history of one coach versus another in the finals. Chris Knobloch, who also was not given an assistant coaching job with Paul Maurice in Winnipeg, and Maurice covered that today, saying he just felt like it wouldn't benefit Knobloch. He was more of a head coach. He should stay one in the AHL versus becoming an assistant coach. So it was really
the rest is history.
Press conference, exactly.
Right, like if that path didn't divert where Chris Knobloch is now, like, he wouldn't have been taking the Oilers to the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. So, hats off to him, man. Like, it was meant to happen to get him to this point in his life now, to be saying, I am now coaching in my first season, taking the Edmonton Oilers to the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. Done. So, It was meant to happen.
And if you look at the coaching hires over the last honestly 15 years, how many hires are assistant coaches going to NHL head coaches? Or how many are AHL head coaches jumping into the NHL and becoming head coaches? We're talking John Cooper, Jared Bednar, now
Mike Sullivan.
Mike Sullivan. Like, where's all these old guys who were, like, Rick Bowness took forever to become a head coach. He was an assistant coach for like 35 years. Then he finally got it in Dallas in the COVID years and just had like his last 3 years where he was a head coach. Like, crazy stuff. Being an NHL assistant coach just absolutely decimates your chances. And then when you become a head coach, like, look at a guy like Mike Yao. He became a head coach, and ever since he got fired by St. Louis for Craig Berube, who led them to the Stanley Cup, Mike Yao has been bouncing around assistant coach jobs. So I think that's one of the hardest things to come back from, is becoming an NHL assistant coach, because you get stuck in that role. So I want to talk about this for you, Dakota, because I want to get your perspective on this. So every single one of Calgary's trades this year was a failure. Every single one. So with Dallas being eliminated in the West Final, Calgary will not receive the 2026 conditional third-round pick for the Chris Tranev trade. So the Flames ended up 0 for 3 on trade conditions from this past season. The Vegas Hanifin trade, the Vancouver Lindholm trade did not meet their conditions. So Vegas would have been a second from a third if the Knights won one playoff round. They did not. Lindholm, the fourth, would have turned into a third if the Canucks got to the Western Conference Final. They did not. And Tanev, Flames get a third-round pick if the Stars advance to the Stanley Cup Final. They did not. I think that Craig Conroy will no longer be putting playoff contingent conditions on his trades, because every single one of those trades are even worse than they were now. Like, why put these conditions on it when you don't, like, they got 0%. 0%. Because it's based on someone else's luck and their chance to win.
I'm just happy that there was guaranteed first rounders.
That's true, but like, he literally screwed himself. He screwed himself by allowing both Dallas and Vegas to have to either make the Stanley Cup Final or win a playoff round, and then guess what? They played each other in the first round. One of them was either not making the Stanley Cup Final immediately or was not winning a round immediately. Like, so they were honestly cheering for Vegas, because at least if they won a round, they got it immediately. They had to wait for Dallas to almost get to the final, but like.
Well, and I think with Vegas's pick, it was like this year's draft pick, and with Dallas, it was 25, I believe.
2026.
Oh,
for Dallas,
worse.
2024 for the Canucks, and 2025 for Vegas.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's definitely a bummer, but I don't know. They had to do what they had to do at the time, so.
Well, now Chris Tanev worked 2 first, after how he played.
Hey man, guys, just waiting for Teach to get drafted to Calgary. That's all that's on that guy's mind.
That's all I want.
That's the focus. That is the focus.
You guys need
Vancouver's first round could get traded. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, I hope it happens.
Yeah,
Vancouver probably going to drive a Swedish player.
It makes way more sense.
Yep. They're in win now mode. Like, they don't need to be drafting no more. They are where they need to be. One more star caliber player, bang. Right?
Are you saying this about Calgary?
Vancouver.
Oh. I was going to say you're way off.
Oh, I ain't talking about Calgary. I was going off of what Wilbs was saying.
Calgary is one Kadri trade away from having a roster that actually wants to be there.
Dude, we're a Huberdeau trade away. At least Nass's contract would be easier to trade off.
7 years? 6 years still? At $7 million?
He was still one of the star players.
What's
Huberdeau doing? What's Huberdeau doing?
Wishes there was
10.5.
Contracts restructuring.
Yeah, but Huberdeau at least has done something in his career to be worth that. Nazem Kadri scored
one season, 100-point season?
Buddy, that guy was nuts in Kitchener and London too, so kind of speaks for itself as well. And won a Stanley Cup in Colorado.
Stanley, you don't get paid for the CHL, bud.
I'm not saying that he was nuts then, so he's a point getter. He's always been, always has. He's also good in Toronto.
A guy who gets suspended in the playoffs.
Well, then there's that.
Name one time Kadri was suspended this year, though.
Well, what's the point on getting suspended when there's nothing to fight for?
Wow.
He only gets suspended when he's fighting for something. The only reason he didn't get suspended was for Colorado was because he got hurt before he could. Well, that's the end of that. Okay. Retirements. Joe Pavelski, not saying he's retiring, but saying he's not playing anymore. Weirdest press conference ever. I'm not retiring, but I'm just not going to play hockey any longer.
So Chris Pronger?
Yeah, basically. But Pavelski actually has no contract after this, so he's not saying like he's not retiring for anything. He's literally got no contract. He says he's moving back to Wisconsin. Says he's not retiring, but says he's done playing hockey. Like, I don't know.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're not playing hockey, then you're done. You're retired. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
He's just like, I don't know, maybe just waiting to see who's first in the standing next year and just hops on game.
He pulls a Zach Parise, right? Like, comes out of retirement for like a quarter of the season left. Like, yeah, I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly. Just be like, all right. You know, that's probably what he's saying.
Just like what Perry's been doing. Like, he's been going on the bandwagon and losing every fucking cup finals, which is like, I hope that he wins another cup, I would hope, because, you know, played for my Knights, so he was nuts in junior hockey. Yeah, he has not shined like he did in junior hockey than in the NHL. He's a good player, but he has not shined like he did in junior hockey. Junior hockey,
over 1,000 points?
Dude, he was a staple in that 05 Memorial Cup win.
Yeah, he was an animal. He was an animal.
He is Hall of Fame bound. He is Hall of Fame bound.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's
then went on to win a cup with Anaheim Ducks.
In his rookie season.
Yep. What's that tell you about the guy?
Not much.
He's a champion. He's a champion.
He hasn't won since.
And has been to the Stanley Cup final like 5 years straight and lose it every time.
Exactly.
Different teams, man. He'll join Florida next year.
Dude, he loves
imagine?
No, dude. Then he should join Toronto then.
Ooh.
Why do I see him joining Toronto? No. I honestly can see it.
Take him to the finals and then lose.
He's from Ontario. One of those guys that's like, you know, I just wanted to come home. It was always a dream of mine to come home. Just another guy to come
literally
home.
Any Toronto-born player ever, but all right.
Steven Stamkos, 2024, $10 million.
Fuck it. Bring Phil Kessel back.
No, Phil wouldn't come back. Dude, they'd offer him life supply of hot dogs with $10 million, and he'd be like, no.
Even with the hot dogs, he'll say, hell no, I ain't coming back.
He's like, you want me to come back to that media circus? Nope.
Oh, he hated that. He hated the media there. They ate him up.
I mean, it was definitely justified. Like, he put pucks in the net, but Guy didn't do much else. I mentioned PWHL Montreal's Melodie Daoust retired as well. So good for her. Let's jump to Utah, though. We joked about Utah a little bit. They have their 6 names. It's down to 6. Utah Hockey Club, Utah Blizzard, Utah Mammoth, Utah Outlaws, Utah Venom, and Utah Yeti. Hockey Club, let's just throw that. That's not going to win. I think that they just keep sliding it through the votes because they're literally going to be Utah Hockey Club this year. There's no way
it's a money grab.
Voted it. Yeah, there's no way people actually voted that.
They need to really think.
It's a money grab because they know people are going to buy it, and then when they change their logo, they're going to buy that merchandise as well.
Exactly. So I want to get your guys' votes. We have Dayton's vote. Dayton likes the Utah Mammoth. Let's get some votes. I like the Utah Outlaws. That's my pick.
I'm going Yeti.
Oh, Dallas hates that. Hates the Yeti.
The Blizzard and the Yeti are just too close to resemblance of Colorado's trait-sake. You know, the Bigfoot logo patch, and then
the one thing I like about Yeti is it's just singular Yeti. It's not Yetis.
Yeah,
Just
but it's like
pack of Yetis.
And then the Blizzard, it looks like, same winter element as an avalanche. Like, you're just kind of, oh, buddy, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just don't make it look obvious. It's like that meme.
Can we just be real about how sick their away jerseys will be, though? Just all white, even just like, because their logo is just going to be like white snow, just white. Nothing else.
Just white. All white out. Like a Winnipeg Jets whiteout in the playoffs.
They're going to request that to be their home jersey, wear their whites all the time because it's a blizzard at home.
I'll put in my vote, and I'm going to say Outlaws, too. I think they could really pull it off with a decent logo. I like Outlaws, it's original, so I don't know. And it's the Wild West. We talked about that. The Outlaws. Mm-hmm. Utah is a Wild West state, so I think it kind of complements well the location and what the team they're bringing to the Salt Lake City area. So, cash it in, boys. Cash in my vote. Utah Outlaw.
What do you got, Wilbs?
What's Utah Outlaw? Let's ride.
I've been thinking that too as well. Like I've been seeing it in the comments, and it does seem fitting. Like just based off how Dowley's saying it, I just feel like it might be the best fit for this club. Hopefully that's the winner. But if it's Utah Hockey Club, man, oh man, they're in fucking shambles to get joked on in the fucking comments fucking Twitter. Like,
Twitter's gonna have a field day with that. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
My second favorite is definitely Mammoth. I think that they could pull off a sick logo with a mammoth, for sure. But I also think that Venom, my brother-in-law actually said this to me tonight. I didn't even think about this. So ditch the whole everyone does a snake for Venom. What if they did a scorpion logo?
Ooh.
That would be pretty sick.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
So shout out to my brother-in-law for that one, because that's.
I'm gonna just go on a quick note here, boys. In the NL, they got the Colorado Mammoth, and I hope the logo, if the Mammoth were to win Utah, I'm like, please don't have any resemblance, because even that would just look bad. So I don't like the Mammoth idea. Yeah, it's cool though. It's got like a big M with like mammoth tusks, kind of going like this. You should put it up on the screen for the boys, but just
I'll look it up.
I hope they don't go Mammoth. Please go Outlaw. It just complements so well.
Sorry, I'm just writing that Colorado Mammoth logo. I'll add that in there. Okay, we talked about the Ducks and the Kings. A little bit of Kamloops history here, or potentially to be made, is that Kendra Woodland hopes to become the first Kamloops-born female to get drafted to the PWHL when their draft happens. She has been a part. I didn't even know this. I knew how good she's been, and I didn't know where she was playing though. So she is a part of the female UNB Reds team, the male UNB Reds team that had the first ever undefeated season in college hockey history in Canada. She is on the female team there, and they also won all their trophies this year. So the UNB Reds are the place to be if you are a star player in Canadian collegiate hockey, and she led the way for that team. So hopefully she gets drafted to the PWHL. And you know what? It's been multiple women that have been, 3 other women have all canceled their studies. And one of them is going to be a doctor, and she's going to be in the draft. And she said, well, I have my whole life to be a physician. I'm in the best hockey shape of my life, and this is the chance for me to play professionally as a woman. So,
exactly.
It's good to hear these women just going for it, which is awesome.
All the best to her. Cheering from Kamloops.
All right.
Go Reds, baby.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go Reds, man. Reds are sick. I didn't know anything about them till this year, but they're dominant. Okay, let's throw it over to our segment, Battle of the Tarps. Here we go. We have our June round robin number 1 of the Battle of the Tarps. the alternate jerseys for the OHL Sudbury Wolves versus the home jersey for the SJHL Melville Millionaires. Who do we got, gentlemen? What's our thoughts? Who's winning this vote?
It's tough. That's tough.
It is tough just because, I don't know, I feel like the Millionaires put up against like a same league team. I would probably choose the Millionaires. Just, it's a simple logo, but it looks sick. I like the darker blue. But the Wolves, I don't know, there's just something clean about the Wolves. Even though it doesn't have the Wolf logo on it, it just does look a little bit cleaner.
Crest is nice, yeah.
I think the design plays a huge factor. Like, it's not just the logo you're looking at. You're looking at the design of the jersey, and the Millionaires, it kind of looks a little bit plain a little bit. Like, there's not really anything going on. And I see Sudbury's, the blue and the white work so well together, which I think that just edges out, in my opinion, between those two jerseys.
I don't know if it's just my bias, but Sudbury has the worst logo in hockey. With their wolf, with the tongue sticking out. I think it is the goofiest Looney Tunes looking cartoon piece of crap.
This ain't North Bay, okay? This ain't North Bay, alright?
North Bay's is better. North Bay's is way better. I have always hated
we're
Sudbury's
talking. You
logo.
want to talk about cartoonish looking? Buddy. The Wolves. Sudbury's is nice.
What is intimidating? It literally looks like a wolf that just got hit by a car. It's got its tongue sticking out.
It's a Wile E. Coyote there, champ.
Yeah, it looks like Wile E. Coyote. It does not look... What about it is intimidating?
It's not supposed to be intimidating. That's not what they're going for.
What's it supposed to be?
It's the Sudbury Wolves, and it is a wolf. End of story.
They literally might as well be the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs from freaking Shoresy. At least that is a good looking logo.
Those were sick though, I'll admit that.
Exactly.
Those were nice.
But so why I'm happy about this Sudbury jersey is, first off, that logo's not on there. And I think that the way that they did the Sudbury Wolves lettering is clean. It's classic. I like that it's white stripes, but it's just an off gray on the shoulders.
Silverish, yeah. Very silverish.
Yeah, it's just off.
I dig it.
It just adds a little bit extra to the jersey. It looks like that silver is also what goes around their letters and their Captain C. So I like it. It's on the gloves too. So I just think I like that one a little bit more. Honestly, these are almost twin jerseys. If you were to just talk it plain, like blue jersey, logo in the middle, 2 stripes on the arm, 2 stripes on the bottom for Sudbury. Then you're talking about Melville, white jersey, logo in the middle, 2 stripes on the arm that are blue, 2 stripes on the bottom that are blue, and then they both have shoulder coverage from side to side. Like, they're almost identical. They would be like a home and away jersey for a team.
Man, Melville gives me Dollarama logo vibes. Like, you want to talk about cartoonish? There you go.
They're the Millionaires.
Boy.
At least, like, what are they supposed to do? Just put a rich guy on there? Like, Donald Trump's face just slapped.
Hey, dude, Vancouver Millionaires, the Quesnel Millionaires, like, Melville Millionaires.
Monopoly Man.
Monopoly Man. With his little monocle.
I like it.
Oh my god.
I'm going with Sudbury,
no monocle,
boys.
bud. Hey, Dally, no monocle, bud.
Oh, sorry, Mandela effect. Sorry. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going Wolves. So that's 2 for
I'm
Wolves.
going Wolves too, boys.
I'm going Wolves
I think
as
that
well.
might be...
I think it was a clean sweep, bud.
Clean sweep.
Yep, clean sweep.
That's actually a first, I think. Right on. Sorry, Melville.
Yeah, because some guys vote for the Cape Breton Eagles out of nowhere just because of family. Not even a good jersey.
Buddy, they have some sweet tarps. Don't roast. Don't roast. The Eagles' older uniforms, I'd probably say no, but their new ones, the whole revamp, they kind of went for like a Florida Panthers-ish kind of, rebrand, so it's kind of nice.
It does look better.
When they were the Screaming Eagles, now they're just the Eagles, but still pretty sick.
True. All right, let's jump to the May final. It's been a while, but we have the May final here, and I think this is an absolute cakewalk. We have Tipos versus the KIJHL Revelstoke Grizzlies, and
Grizzlies.
T-Post made it this
Hands
far.
down.
Grizzlies, hands down. Bye, T-Post.
If
Bye.
you look at this bracket, it was tough. T-Post got through because it had even weaker competition than it is. It basically won due to its GOAT logo up to this point. But Revelstoke Grizzlies are one of the premier amateur sports jerseys in the world. Hands down. So
100%.
they deserve it. They are the May champ. It is not going to be even a question about it. I don't know anyone outside of fans of T-Post that would vote for T-Post. So,
Dude, you can't go wrong with burgundy colors, man, on a jersey.
Nope.
Can never go wrong.
They always slap.
Yes, sir.
Well, burgundy and black just look so good together.
Fuck yeah.
All right, gents. That wraps it up for episode 32 of Gameday Tarts podcast. As always, to everyone watching, thank you for watching and thanks for taking part in this with us. Follow us everywhere at Gameday Tarps. And like Dallas noted, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you see when all of our videos come out. Join our premieres. We're doing premieres on every video that we're releasing where we're interacting with people live polls, live chat. Join us, have some fun there. We're getting interactive with it and having a lot of fun. Follow Wilbs at WilbsPuck on TikTok. Follow Dayton, who is not able to be here tonight, at Blue Nose Hockey on TikTok. And again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.